Drugs. Drugs. Drugs.
Got any?
Not here. You're with the wrong crew.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Over the last few decades, there's been an unfortunately evident link between the worlds of professional wrestling and recreational drug usage. Although recreational is a lucrative term in my opinion, a lot of wrestlers are using those drugs medically in every single way but nominal. On the other hand though, there's wrestlers that for one reason or another find themselves stumbling down a dark tunnel that never leads to a light shining at the end and instead continues on until their legs beneath their feet become weak and their bodies can't even handle what they're being put through anymore. I mean, be smart with drugs, kids. Be smart. I'm D Wicket, and these are 10 wrestlers whose careers were destroyed by drug use. Number 10, Jeff Hardy. Perhaps the most well-known drug addict throughout WWE's entire history, seeing as he's been not just popular but a legitimate fan favorite, having his personal demons addressed numerous times on SmackDown Live, and that unfortunate Victory Road match with Sting back in TNA.
Yo, right now, Sting. Right off the bat. Scorpion death drop. He's not playing games. Got him.
Despite those latter two though, the former has and probably always will remain true. Jeff Hardy is an all-time ultimate babyface. It's amazing that he's been able to keep up with what's made him famous though, seeing as he's been attacking his body in and outside of the ring for years now. While Hardy was one of those few to salvage his career, it did completely fall apart for a while after being fired from WWE and continuing to drug his way through TNA.
Why don't you try living a clean lifestyle? Why don't you try living a straight edge lifestyle?
Number 9, Reed Flair. I mean, come on, when your dad is the jet flying, limousine riding, asshole rhyming nature boy, you're gonna end up experiencing a few party urges from time to time. Whether it was in the genes or the potential need to fill his father's footsteps, Reed Flair definitely lived himself a party life, but it wasn't anything close to a full life. At just 25 years old, perhaps the greatest wrestler of all time's son had been found dead in a hotel back in 2013.
You know, we need to take him in an ambulance for sure, and he came out and said he didn't make it, Rick. That was tough.
An autopsy revealed that he'd overdosed on heroin, clonazepam, and alprazolam. Those latter two being commonly abused prescriptions that this voiceover artist doesn't know how to pronounce.
Your little baby brother, he didn't have much fight in him, did he?
Oh, come on. That was uncalled.
Number 8, Umaga.
Umaga? Umaga? What is this? Who is this? And whatever he is.
While wrestlers may present themselves as larger-than-life characters on screen, that's exactly what we're seeing. Characters. The men behind the muscles and baby oil, though, they might not always share the same confidence as their on-screen counterparts. For example, Umaga, who didn't only have to live up to being a bigger man in professional wrestling, but also being a part of the Anoa'i family, the same band of Samoans that includes The Rock, Roman Reigns, Yokozuna, Rikishi, and the Usos. That's tough company, even with two of those acts not being around at the time. The family's credentials were enough weight on his back for the pressure to completely cave in, allowing a pair of wellness policy violations before being fired for refusing rehab and passing away within the same year.
Wow, he's a man already. He's a huge man. Oh, no.
Number 7, Test.
Introducing first, weighing 282 pounds, Test.
In a story all too similar to the prior, Test's life-pressuring demons came in the form of his inability to handle the fame that comes with working for WWE. We kind of forget about it today because he's just Test, but this dude was a big player for a while. I mean, he almost married Stephanie McMahon at his peak.
Steph, will you give me the honor of being my wife?
Yes, I will. Yes,
Oh, man.
His ride was a fairly quick one too, his rise up to stardom happening so quickly it probably threw Test off. Instead of riding that wave of momentum like Shinsuke Nakamura would an actual wave, Test found himself turning to drugs, ended up fired, moved to TNA, and just like Umaga was fired after a pair of incidents and found dead the same year.
I went to 8 funerals this year. I mean, I shouldn't be going to funerals at 32 years old. As bad as this may sound, it opened my eyes. It made me take my foot out of the grave.
Number 6, XPac.
Unfortunately, there was a few years there, more than a few years, where I was stuck on the meth for a while.
Really?
Ooh, it was brutal, man. That's the worst shit in the world.
Now this one's just horrible. Poor fucking XPac, dude. He's always had that rep throughout his career. I mean, Have you ever heard of the phrase XPac heat? For the younger audience like me, you might know the term Michael Cole heat, especially during that 2010 heel era. Yeah, XPac didn't exactly get the respect that he was looking for from the business, which surely didn't help out the man who revealed that he had been suffering through depression during his wrestling days. That's awful, man. Having depression and then going on to be the symbolism for the things wrong with professional wrestling, that's brutal. That is rough. And it got so rough that despite working with WWE, WCW, and TNA, not one of those companies tried to help him out despite multiple suicide attempts that were covered up with years of drug abuse.
Crack, it goes up and down real quick, and you need a fix again.
Oh.
And the meth lasts a long time.
How long does meth last?
Fucking man, it can last for a couple of days.
Number 5, Carlito.
That's Carlito Caribbean Cool. He's debuting tonight here, and I guess Carlito is...
Despite actually asking for his release numerous times prior, Carlito was still actively competing within the WWE by 2007. He was pretty clear about really not wanting any of this, but Vince McMahon was shockingly adamant. Despite never exactly being the most key of players outside of his awesome debut, Vince really pushed for Carlito to sign on 3 more years, which he eventually did to his own dismay.
Carlito's got the steel chain that has no idea! Right off the skull! The jaw! Here's the cover by Carlito!
Unfortunately, this decision was almost definitely the wrong one. Carlito got himself deep into drugs, and WWE pretty much just let the news fall to the wayside. This was before WWE really took that world too seriously, despite having a wellness policy in place, and it ended up going on for all 3 years before Carlito was fired for refusing rehab.
Look at this.
Number 4, China. Let's address the obvious, okay? Drugs are not entirely what kicked China's career to the curb. That was a hefty mix of Triple H cheating, behind-the-scenes awkwardness, and basically being told that she wouldn't be needed with the WWF anymore.
She did see China hugging Hunter. Stephanie did see China consoling Hunter after he was knocked out with that chair. Stephanie's getting the faces.
After that, she left and took 2 trips to the worlds of pornography and drug use, respectively, before building a bridge between the two with X-Pac's penis. Look, China just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. Sean Waltman seems to be doing pretty good nowadays. If there's anywhere I can try fitting in some humor, it was gonna be this one.
Drugs. Drugs. Drugs.
Got any?
Not here. You're with the wrong crew.
Number 3, the Dynamite Kid, because it sure as fuck wasn't gonna not be here.
All you wrestlers out there, remember one thing, I respect you for what you can do. I know what you can do, but respect me. If you don't, then the Dynamite may just explode and come back in your face.
Look, man, despite being a world-class talent, the Dynamite career was pretty much always paired up with a steroid and meth addiction, one that only elevated as his own career did when he made the big jump to the WWF. Seeing as the shell of his former self somehow managed to make it until just a few months ago, it's kind of haunting to think about the life he was living.
Side headlock now by Dye. And he goes for the ride. Nice quick over the top. Look how quick. What a nice shoulder block. Wow.
Number 2, Scott Hall. I really don't think I need to say anything here more than this haunting quote from Scott Hall himself, where he said, "I literally have shared hotel rooms with Shawn Michaels. On more than one occasion, we lay there and I go,
'Hey Shawn, what, Raves? Your heart still beating?'
Shawn would respond, 'Wait a minute, yeah,' and then Scott would go, 'Here, take half of this.'" Jesus Christ. And number 1, Jake the Snake Roberts. Let's end this video on a happy note, because after all, the point here is self-control and a healthy mindset. Drugs are a very dangerous road to be riding on, and if you're not in the right place or don't think you're in control of your own life, they can and will lead to dark times, alcohol very much being included. But if anything can counteract addiction, it's love. Not even romantic love. Friendly love can save a life, which DDP undeniably proved when he took the very mentally beaten Jake Roberts after years and years of drug and alcohol abuse, brought him under his much healthier wings, and showed him how grass the green can be when you take that step back towards the side of sobriety. God bless DDP.
How's it going, bro? Jake, hey, how's it going, man?
It's beautiful, man.
And those are 10 wrestlers whose careers were killed by drugs. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. After liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and notifications, that bell. Don't do drugs unless you're smart. Maybe that's not good advice.